Sinagot ng US Ambassador to the Philippines ang ilang tanong kaugnay ng pagtulong ng Amerika sa pagbabantay sa mga teritoryo ng Pilipinas. Tumanggi itong tukuyin ang mga bagong EDCA site pero nagkomento sa pangamba ng ilang Pilipino sa epekto ng tensyon sa Taiwan. Narito po ang aking eksklusibong panayam kay US Ambassador to the Philippines MaryKay Carlson. Panunutok ng laser, pagpapadala ng mga pulutong ng mga Chinese militia ship, pati na pagpapadala ng isa sa kanilang warship malapit sa Pag-asa Island sa Palawan. Ilan lang ito sa mga hakbang na ginawa ng China sa West Philippine Sea sa nakalipas na mga buwan.
The Philippines and the US have agreed.
Kaya sa aking panayam kay US Ambassador MaryKay Carlson, tinanong ko kung anong reaksyon at mga hakbang na gagawin ng Amerika ukol dito.
Recently, there was a laser pointing incident by China. And of course, we have the Mutual Defense Treaty, which states that the Philippines and the US agree to respond to any external armed attack. Would you say that this laser pointing incident qualifies as an external armed attack?
I will go by what I have heard Philippine officials say, including President Marcos, which is that they do not see that this incident with the laser is one that would invoke or provide the basis to invoke the Mutual Defense Treaty. Mm-hmm. So we stand at the ready to work with our Philippine allies. We have your back, but what our goal is, our mutual goal, is to deter conflict, not to instigate conflict.
Recently, just last Saturday, a Chinese warship was spotted near Pag-asa Island, and that's well within Philippine territory. Are they trying to taunt the Philippines and its allies, possibly?
I can't speak for what the People's Republic of China is thinking or doing. What I can say is looking at what President Biden is doing, and that is focusing on our allies. No matter what the PRC is doing, and all we want is fair competition. It's not about seeing what the PRC is doing, what threatening behavior. It's about making sure that we all play by the rules of the game in the international arena.
Is there any other thing that we have to possibly exploit further?
I think the EDCA sites is a perfect example. Yes. That's one thing that we can do.
Ang Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement o EDCA ang pinirmahang kasunduan kung saan papayagan ng Pilipinas ang Amerika na gamitin ang mga base militar dito. May orihinal na 5 EDCA site ng kasama sa kasunduang ito na madadagdagan ng 4 na iba pa. Pero nang tanungin ko kung saan-saang lugar ang mga ito,
I don't want to get ahead of the Philippine government on that. That's a decision. Our militaries have come up with what they think is best, but I would say we should be able to announce the next EDCA sites within the next several months, and then getting the U.S. Congress to appropriate the funds once there's an agreement on where they will go.
I noticed that most of these sites that are being considered, that are making it to the news, they're usually near the West Philippine Sea or near Taiwan. Is that a main consideration in choosing the sites?
It's 365 days a year that our militaries are coordinating. And they choose sites for any number of reasons. And that's primarily just to ensure the lives and the livelihoods of Filipinos are protected and that U.S. security interests are also enhanced.
Of course, we've encountered some resistance. I know for a fact that there are at least 2 governors from Cagayan and Isabela that are apprehensive about having their provinces used as EDCA sites, possibly, because they say that they could be military targets in the event China gets aggressive towards Taiwan. Do their fears have any basis?
It is hard to imagine that any individual project in any individual province would be the target. We've seen in the South China Sea, the West Philippine Sea is known here, aggressive behavior against innocent fisher folk where there's no EDCA site at all. So that aggressive behavior could come in any form. I don't see the EDCA site as a magnet for that.
But these EDCA sites are going to be temporary, not permanent.
I think there's a little bit of misconception that an EDCA site is a U.S. base or that somehow they are permanent structures. What an EDCA site is identifying an area where a variety of projects can take place. So for example, in the original 5 EDCA sites, I can announce today that we are going to do a groundbreaking just this month on March 20th. We're going to invite our U.S. Secretary of the Air Force to do a groundbreaking on a $24 million project that will extend the Basa airstrip and rehabilitate that to make sure that it is useful.
Ang Basa Air Base ng Philippine Air Force na matatagpuan sa Florida Blanca sa Pampanga ay isa sa 5 orihinal na EDCA site.
There are many projects in the pipeline. There's so many that I can't even enumerate them, but it's over $80 million worth. Now that $24 million project at Basa Airstrip is one of the biggest. These 5 sites are part of a interconnected sort of fabric of keeping our people safe.
Recently, some pretty strong words from China's leaders. You have President Xi Jinping saying the U.S.-led policies may lead to catastrophic consequences. You have the Foreign Minister Xin Gang saying if the U.S. does not hit the brakes but continues to speed down the wrong path, no amount of guardrails can prevent derailing or a crash, and there will surely be conflict and confrontation. Would you like to comment on those words?
Who's lining up behind those statements? Where are the friends and allies that are supporting those statements? We stand by our allies. We are working together collectively to make sure that we can uphold the safety and security of our people. I would just leave it at that.
Bukod sa EDCA, kasama na rin sa pinag-uusapan ang pagsasagawa ng mga joint naval patrol sa West Philippine Sea, katuwang ang ilang bansa, kabilang ang Amerika.
We are pleased to see the Philippines say that they are ready for joint patrols. We have similar activities that we do with other allies, and this will be one important component of making sure that our waterways are free and open.
Will these joint patrols be able to help our Filipino fishermen who are constantly being harassed?
Certainly, that's the goal, is to make sure that Philippine vessels and Philippine fisherfolk are allowed to fish in their traditional areas. And it's not only about economic aspects of fisheries, it's also about environmental protection. We've seen recently the reports of this oil spill, and the U.S. has offered assistance in terms of containing that oil spill. So it's having that interoperability, having those patrols also allows us to have better information that we can then feed into other aspects of our alliance.
Binigyang diin din ni Carlson ang kahalagahan ng pagkakaroon ng anyay malakas na kaalyado tulad ng Amerika.
All of these aspects where we're protecting the livelihoods of our people also project an alliance that is strong, where the people-to-people connections are tight. And my family comes from Texas. Don't mess with Texas. I mean, if you've got a strong alliance, it's like, don't mess with us.